What's going on, guys? You got Quasi here for Quasi Animation Studio and Quasi Media Network. Presently, as you can see on the screen, we're talking about how easy it is to make a micro short film. Anything that's 5 minutes and below, micro short. Anything 5 minutes to 40 minutes is a short film. So let's go ahead and see what you need, all of the components. So in our last live stream, we talked about breaking down the micro short film called Aksara, a dystopian journal. Well, the first thing you need is a character. All right, this character, of course, as I mentioned in the live stream, is from the site Ready Player Me. You can go there. All you need is an email. It gives you the activation code, and excuse me, and you can just easily just make all the characters and avatars you want. Okay. Nextly, we also need, and the next thing we need is an environment. Okay, so what we have here right now is the set. This set is a composition of objects that I downloaded from Sketchfab, CG Trader, and various other sites. So these particular models are done with geometry nodes. So we're using the power of Blender in way of geometry nodes to distribute this collection of buildings 1 through 6, to be this small, or yet this cityscape. Okay, so with that being said, let's drop into our camera view, and of course the camera view is showing a depth of field. So let's just kind of search the area. So I'm going to click this car so I can go straight down in here, and we can look at the environment from this angle. Okay, so in here we have volume. So if I turn the volume off, you can see that we have cables in the scene, just something simple. Okay, using the geo cables add-on that you can find at GitHub. Okay, along with, I'm sorry, not GitHub, Gumroad. Also along with geo pipes. Okay, these two vehicles, of course, like I said, these are downloads from Sketchfab, and I added the sun. So if we go and turn this on, we can see that we have the sunlight, and I have the sunlight set to 20. Okay, to give it a good amount of lighting, because most people are afraid to crank it up. Really, they would be more for like 400. Really, the sunlight would be more like 400. But since we're not going to blare everything out, kept it simple. So to beef that up to make it seem brighter or seem more atmospheric, we add volume. Okay, so we see it through the camera's lens or the camera view. If I go to that camera, we can clearly see what it looks like. Okay, and it gives us a pretty good amount of brightness. Okay, so we have these components. The next component that we want to have, hands down, simple as this. We want to have our cameras, and we need to know what those cameras will be. So let's look at our cameras. Okay, so our cameras are set up in reference to Arri Alexa cameras. Okay, so I'm using our Arri Alexa 65. All right, so the resolution I have set up for this is basically the 4K. It's 39 by 60. I'm sorry, 3960 by 2160. So you're going to hear me refer to this as 2160. Okay, just for instance, like you say 720p or 1080p. So this is 2160. Okay, and also we'll go to the camera. The main camera, for the main character, I have the sensor fit at vertical instead of horizontal. So horizontal will pull it back some and make it a little bit smaller of a sensor. Okay, but it also gives us more width. All right, so when I go to the vertical, it pulls back more, and it allows for a wider shot because it's at 18.66 millimeters. But when I come up here, this is the camera I'm using, the Arri Alexa 65. But I also had to make a decision on, do I keep the focal length at 50? I did that because that's the focal length, not necessarily the sensor. So I know that that camera that I wanted has a t-stop of 1.9. So that's what I used, and I bumped it up to 2.2 when I went to filming. Okay, so understanding what cameras you want, and then you can easily do something like, for instance, go to the website of any camera maker that's out there and see the details of the cameras, and then set your cameras up in that way. And that's basically what I did. So I have two 2160 cameras in here where their apertures are 1.9, but also having a depth of field focus object using empties, and at the same time also using the settings for each Arri Alexia Mini. Okay, I'm not mini LF cameras, because again, if you go into camera, you have an LF, you also have a mini and SXT settings, okay, presets in a 65. So I decided to use the 65 and change up the sensor to height over width. All right, so the next thing that I believe that we need to talk about, that one would need, is of course sound effects and music. So I'm going to talk about music because the sound effects are a little bit iffy. It's just more about what you would want. So in this case, I decided to use two different sites. So let's check those out. Okay, so we're here at mixkit.co. Okay, and music, video, sound effects, etc. All right, so I got one of the music clips from here. All right, so I decided to choose to use this particular site. Okay, and the next site I used was Pixabay, and went to music and decided to get music from there. And you can use this music royalty free as long as you give due credit. So these are the two things I use. I even use these sites to grab sound effects because they have sound effects libraries. Again, over here also sound effects libraries. Okay, so you got sound effects library for Pixabay and also for Mixkit, and I think these are two pretty good sites. So these are some of the components that one would use to create a short film. I didn't have to go and model a lot of things or whatnot, even though I say okay a character. I also went as far as downloading the actual antagonist for the film from, I believe, Sketchfab also. And let's just look at the antagonist. Okay, so we have right here our antagonist, Zombie Male 1. So the difference in this, as I explained in the live stream, is that with the antagonist, the zombies or cannibals or man-eaters are not brainless, mindless fiends. I wanted them to be actual cannibals, and because of their cannibalism, they become feral or sort of inhuman, but they're not undead. They can die quite easily and quite quickly. There is no, oh, I got bit and turned into this. This is more of a choice based upon them becoming overwhelmed with the outcome of the world in its present state, and there's being not a scarcity, but there's no resources outside of the walls of those that are inside that decided to control the world, so to speak, air quotes. And so whoever was outside of that or doesn't have the ability to be in there or doesn't have the status to be a part of that world, guess what? They may end up turning on you and eating you. And that was the concept for the antagonist. So those are all the components and how easy it is to put together a short film. So for the sake of it, I want to show you guys the actual film. So of course you can go and check the film out. The link is in the description. You can go over to the Quasi Media Network. But to show you the actual film, we're just going to look at it. So I'm going straight to it now, and let's look at a dystopian journal, Aksara. And there you have it. So it's that simple. Is to put the pieces together and ta-da, you have a film. Something as simple as that. So don't be discouraged. Don't be scared of Blender. Don't be scared of Maya. Don't be scared of Cinema 4D. Don't be scared of 3S Max. Don't be scared of any of those things. Don't be scared of Grease Pencil or Clip Studio or Illustrator or whatever form of medium that you want to use to create your content with. Don't be afraid of it. Put something together. And also check out the Kono Riki Discord. Is a Discord that myself and my friend Joshua or TT Casanova have put together for the sake of animators and creators alike. There are specific rules to it, but nonetheless, it is still open to any and all, even spectators. Just respect the rules and honor the owners of the Discord, which is myself and Joshua. So with that being said, man, nothing but love. Check you guys out later.